During the previous section, I reviewed the progress of students in my intervention group. I discovered that the support is working for the majority of my students and that I may need to make changes for other students. In this section, we'll go over how to change your support plan for students in a number of different ways, how to exit a student from support, how to assign additional supports, and how to change support. Changing support plans would normally happen during your support review, so I'm going to begin by going back to my group of students in my reading intervention. Okay. First, let's look at the student on the top here. Ariana has been on a pretty steady trajectory for the last month, and she's reading above the end of year goal for first grade. So I'm going to remove her from our reading intervention support, and she'll only receive core reading services from now on. To do that, I simply close this lock on her intervention. Choose the date that I'm ending it and say OK. Now see Ariana still shows, but she has this red lock indicating that she is no longer receiving intervention. Going back to my whole group, I can see that most students are making pretty good progress. I've noticed that Merlino is making good progress, but we need to work on his comprehension. So I'm going to start monitoring his reading comprehension on a regular basis. I can do that by adding a new skill on his overview. I press the green plus sign. And the skill type is academic, reading, reading comprehension. I'm going to use an easy CBM test. And if I start typing in this box, I see my different choices, and I'm going to choose multiple choice reading comprehension and at the first grade level and submit. Now I can see that that's added a new skill that he'll be working on. Now, if I go to reading comprehension, I can see that his chart is blank. To begin monitoring, I'll assign this skill to a group. I can click the plus next to intervention to assign him to a group. I have choices. I can assign this skill to my existing group, create a new group, or assign him to one-on-one instruction. I'm going to choose my existing group and set the start date for monitoring this skill. Now, when I go to check in that group, I can enter both his oral reading fluency and his reading comprehension. And next, I'm going to look at Alf. Alf hasn't been making a lot of progress. So I'm going to add him to my special Thursday readers group that uses the Reading Plus curriculum once a week. I can go down to Alf, look at his oral reading fluency score, and click the plus to add an intervention. And I'm going to assign him to Thursday readers using Reading Plus and set the start date. Now, if we reload his page, we'll see that Alf is in both interventions. He was in Read Naturally first, and then we added Reading Plus. The details of both interventions are down here. And if we later decide he doesn't need Read Naturally, I could remove him from the Read Naturally group by closing this intervention with the lock. And if I reload the page and look at that oral reading fluency, I can now see that we had Read Naturally in the beginning, switching to Reading Plus, and there was a period of time during which those overlapped, and he had 2 interventions. So in just a few short minutes, we were able to stop intervention for Ariana Schlosser. We changed Merlino's intervention to include a reading comprehension measure, and we modified Alf's intervention to give him a completely different intervention group.